With President's Day being observed in the US today and lunar celebrations in China and much of East Asia, towards the end of the week, trading volumes are likely to be light. But there are still plenty of potential market movers, and Athanasios Vamvakidis joins me down the line to discuss in the week ahead. Thanos, the positive feeling at last week's close seems to have all but dissipated, with only the Greeks feeling confident ahead of the latest meeting with EU officials. But how would you describe sentiment at present?
Well, we expect more volatility looking forward. Clearly, in the case of Greece, we are far from an agreement. They are still discussing the roadmap for the negotiations ahead. And even on this, we don't expect an agreement in today's meeting. So they will start negotiating without any funding for the Greek sovereign, but with the ECB's ELA program being there to fund any deposit flight in the banking sector during the negotiations.
This week will also see the release of the first ever ECB meeting minutes, which might serve as a slight distraction from the Greek situation. When the legitimacy of the Eurozone is under scrutiny, could further confirmation of disparity between France and German economies on Friday cause more concern of bloc collapse?
Indeed, we are all looking forward to the first ECB minutes. I don't know if we will call them minutes. It really depends how detailed they're going to be. It's of particular interest given that this was also the meeting in which they introduced open-ended QE. So it will be extremely interesting to see to what extent they will go into details on the discussion that led to this historic decision for the ECB. So might not be necessarily the story for the short term, but towards the end of this year and early next year, we might see German and French inflation diverging, and then this will be a test for the ECB. Will they focus on their target for the Eurozone as a whole, and will they be able to stick to their promise for open-ended QE, or we're going to see louder voices against such aggressive monetary policy easing in the core countries?
A busy week for the UK in statistical terms kicks off with inflation data. The current sterling rally was rejected around 154.40 during European morning. But with the FOMC minutes also a potential catalyst, how do you see sterling trading against the US dollar in the short term?
Well, the UK in the last year or so has been an extremely interesting case. Some analysts were expecting the first rate hike late last year, and now the consensus keeps pushing it to later this year. Actually, we just revised our own projection from August to November. Sterling has weakened quite a lot in recent months. We have been bearish, and we have been particularly bullish sterling vol, expecting that the market will get consent later in the year as the UK elections are approaching, and we're not even there yet. One can argue that cable has weakened too much, and indeed we have seen some speculative flows buying cable at these low levels. So in the short term, there might be some upside risk, but overall we remain bearish sterling versus the dollar. And as I said, we particularly like being long sterling vol ahead of the UK elections.
And what else should our viewers keep an eye out for, Thanos?
I think clearly the situation in Greece is crucial given the tail risk scenarios involved. Also, this week, we, in addition to the ECB minutes, we get the FOMC minutes. It will be interesting to see what is the balance of the views. And more looking forward, I think what we have seen so far this year is a divergence of monetary policies because of a different response to a common shock, the drop in oil prices. I think looking forward, the big question in the market will be, will the Fed continue focusing on the positive aspects of the high oil prices and the strong labor market data, or are they going to get concerned that the strong dollar, the drop in inflation expectations, allow them to delay the first rate hike to later this year or even next year?
Thanos, great to speak with you. Thank you for your time and insights today. The TV team will be covering the events discussed and much more this week, so please keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV. For me and for now though, it's goodbye.